Back on CBS Sports 2, taking a look at your AFC playoff picture following a matchup between two teams not separated by a whole lot in the standings or the record. Ravens and Chargers swapping spots with the Ravens, your 5 seed at 8-4. The Chargers falling down to the 6 seed, now 7-4, and still looking for quality wins as that playoff picture comes more into focus. Back in studio with the guys. Gentlemen, let's talk about these Ravens first and foremost. We know they're going to be a playoff team. They might be a division champion. They might be a high wild card number. What did this win do, Ryan, specifically for that effort and the division in the playoffs and the message sent to the remainder of the AFC?
Yeah, they needed this win to bounce back from the Steelers' loss last week. Also compounding that with the Steelers' loss themselves to the Browns. Now they're just a half game back, as you point out, Joe, and they're going in the right direction. They have momentum. Things will get interesting because they have yet to have their bye. They play the Eagles next week, and then they get a week off to regroup, and that bye is actually pretty good timing for them. Get Roquan Smith healthy if he's not yet ready to go next week. And it feels like, Emory, they're hitting their stride at the exact right time. They had the Browns hiccup, which was a weird loss. Everyone has this weird game that they can point to in their schedule at some point. And I think the defense is coming together, and if they get healthy and they can maintain that balance run pass, this team is as dangerous as anyone in the AFC.
This is the next 3 weeks to the next 2 games are as critical of the season at any point for Baltimore, because you have a huge game against Philadelphia, arguably one of the best teams, top 2 teams in the NFC. But then you have the bye, and coming out of a bye, you have a struggling Giants team. We joked in the pregame about how Baltimore always has a game where they just kind of lay flat, but this Giants game is sandwiched in between the Eagles' big game and the Steelers' second match, the rematch. So that's going to be how much resolve can you have, how much focus can you have if you're Baltimore is going to be what I will be focused on, because they're going to have to lock in for 3 straight weeks and a bye in between that. So that's something I'm going to be seeing if they are able to not only read the press clippings, but ignore the press clippings and handle their business, not only versus the Eagles, but through the bye we get healthy, and also with the Giants on the other side.
Yeah, the momentum heading into the playoff this season going to be very important for a team that had that momentum, had some time on their side a year ago, and still did not matter. Taking a look at what might be in front of these Chargers with the playoff picture, you got to look at what stands between them now and the playoffs. It goes Falcons, Chiefs, Bucks, Broncos. They finish with the Pats and the Raiders. So 2 nice ones at the end of the year for the Chargers, but they got some big-time football coming here. A trip to Atlanta, a trip to Kansas City. The Buccaneers are alive and maybe well. The Broncos are looking like a team that nobody wants to see right now. When you look at L.A., coming off of this loss, how important is the urgency, Emory, that they must show Week 13 against the Falcons?
It's huge, because you know against the Falcons you can kind of simulate where they can go to try to win that ball game. It's going to be pressuring Kirk Cousins, and I like that matchup for the Chargers. And we know they're going to treat the Chiefs game like their Super Bowl, because everyone does against Kansas City. So they'll play their best against the Chiefs, and then you saw how the rest of the schedule falls out for them. So they'll be able to stack some good wins. And the most important game is that Broncos game, because that's the team they're going to be fighting with for either that 6th or 7th seed in the AFC playoffs, because they can rack up some nice wins here, but that Broncos game could be the difference between playing out or playing in.
They're 1-4 against teams with winning records. So if we just continue to follow that math, they are going to beat the Buccaneers. That's going to be a tough task, and they win their final 2. They get to 10 wins. That feels like enough. I'm not sure the Buccaneers are going to lay down after what we saw from Baker Mayfield yesterday in terms of a reinvigoration with the return of Mike Evans. So the Falcons, we'll see. I just don't feel good about this team because the defense has struggled. And then you talked about it. Who are they throwing the ball to outside of Ladd McConkey? That they can Will Dissly? I mean, he's a fun story, but you can't build a team around a Will Dissly and a Ladd McConkey when you're going up against guys that have Bijan Robinson and Drake London, for example. So these are the issues facing this team. I still feel like they're a year away, even if they get into the playoffs. They need some pieces that you talk about, Joe, but they have their work cut out for them. They have to finish at least 3-3 and hopefully better.
Yeah, massive step forward when you look at the season from 30,000 feet.
Absolutely.
Right. Some very important football that will define their season here in the weeks to come. Ryan, Wilson, Emory Hunt, thank you as always as we take a look at that AFC playoff picture. Oh, you know what it is. It's with the first pick season. Ryan Wilson, it's your podcast. What do you got coming?
I told you we got the 2024 redraft coming up on tomorrow's episode. First overall pick could be a quarterback, Joe. Is it Caleb? Is it Jaden? Have to listen and find out.
You want my opinion?
Yes.
Change nothing. Download, subscribe, and enjoy with the first pick.